Hi everyone, today I'm going to walk you through the Diamond VIP 2500. I'm going to show you some of the interesting features that it has and then walk through the operation of each of the different systems in here. So come on in and let's take a look at this bus together. One of the upgrades that we have on this bus is the power Roscoe mirrors. These are controlled right here from the driver position with these two knobs, one for each mirror and one for the upper and one for the lower mirror. Simply just move the knob to help adjust up or down for whatever position you need them in. In those cold months, you can easily switch and get the defrost activated to help clear those mirrors for easy visibility and safety. New for 2021, you notice that the lights now have the auto feature. Simply go to where the little A is inside and you'll have your auto headlights. For interior lights, you can use the buttons for either dimming or brightening those dashboard lights. On the 2021 Diamond Bus, you will notice that Ford has made some changes to the cluster. This used to be the old gauge style, but now they've changed to more of a digital format. This gives you the choice to go through and have some customization as far as for what you would like to see. Refer to your owner's manual to see all the different options available and different items that you can display on here. Looking over some of the options that you have here in your Diamond Bus, I wanted to go through each item and explain in their entirety what each one does. The red button right here at the very front is going to be for operating those side entry power doors. Simply hold the button and this will allow it to open fully and hold for closing. You also have another button for your aisle lights. This will help give that illumination all through the cabin when needed. Finally, the last button is for your rear heater. You have a low setting as well as a high setting. Simply toggle the switch to operate that. Now with the rear heat, you also have controls for the front. For running the heat, turn your dial all the way to hot and make sure that this dial here is set to either floor, mix, or defrost to utilize those front vents. Then turn your front fan all the way on. This will allow maximum heat out of the front and then also work in conjunction with the rear heater as well. To operate the air conditioning, simply turn all the way to the cool. You're going to want to move this dial all the way to max AC. Turn your front dial all the way to high, as well as turning the rear dial all the way to high. This is going to turn on that rear air conditioning system and give you the maximum amount of cold air coming through the cabin. Finally, Ford has also added a couple nice little features, as well as USB charging ports and your standard plug-in port for any devices you need, such as GPS or phone chargers. They've also added a button right here for your lane assist and for your traction control and your hazards. The radio itself is the standard Ford radio, which has just the basic features, and it can go through your owner's manual to see all the specific items for programming stations. Now, another great feature that we have is we've upgraded this rear view mirror to be integrated with the reverse backup camera. Simply put the vehicle in reverse and immediately the screen pops up showing you directly behind the bus. You also can hear the audible alarm as well for backup. A lot of features on this bus do have backup systems in case of a failure. Your power doors have a way for an emergency release. Up top here is where all the power door mechanism is kept, so you don't need to go into here. This is more of a service door. However, this red handle right here is designed to be a backup, that in the event of an emergency and you need to open this door and it won't open with that button, simply just pull the lever and it releases the motor, allowing you to exit. If you need to get the doors back in place, simply close the lever and just operate them to a full open and close cycle. Another service point that you have is right above the driver in this panel here. This is again only for your repair facilities to work on the vehicle, so please never store anything or keep anything up here. Behind this door, is a number of the electrical components that operate all the features on your bus. So again, please never place anything up here and leave this only to your service professional for work. In this bus layout, we have a number of different wheelchair positions. We've marked them here with the retractors on the floor, kind of in a hatch mark to show you exactly where each wheelchair position would be. You'll notice that the wheelchair positions use the same track for each position, whereas the rears are a little bit tighter and the fronts are a little bit wider. We're going to show you a diagram that's going to illustrate that when we go through these a little bit later on. I'm going to talk a little bit about this Q-Straight retractor now and show you how this operates and the features of putting it here into the track where you're going to secure the wheelchair participant. There's a couple things to know. One, these are self-retracting, meaning that when they come out, they will self-tighten. If when you're driving, if you hear a little click, don't be alarmed. It's just tightening up any slack that's in the system. To release them, you do have a red tab here. Simply press down and allows the retractor to be released. If for any reason you feel that there's too much slack, you can use the knob to just simply give a little twist and tighten it slightly more. On the back of the retractor, you'll notice this little tab moves up and down to allow you to lock and unlock it from the floor position. When placing into the track, it'll line up and snap down into place. To release it, you'll simply pull up and slide it through the track. I'll demonstrate this now. Going into the floor, you can see that this piece is above and the red line does not match up all the way around. Simply sliding it in place shows the red line matches all the way around, and now your retractor is secure. Rotate the retractor towards the wheelchair position and do that for all four corners. The seatbelt for the wheelchair participant easily connects to the retractors by using a small little tab. Right on the back of the retractor, you'll notice this blue tab sticks out. Simply slide it over and click it into place. Once that's secure, you now have the first part of your three-point harness for your seatbelt. The second part is in your retractor bag, right in here. You will notice that you now have a buckle end as well. Simply take that same connector piece and do the same on the other rear retractor. This will then allow you to have a full three-point harness for the individual in the wheelchair. Another item to talk about for maintenance on your bus is to ensure that these tracks are cleaned out with a plastic bristle brush. This will ensure that we get all that dirt and debris and any corrosive material out of the tracks. Do this about once a month to help ensure the longevity of these tracks and that they don't end up getting damaged or corroded over time. Another option is if you're not having a wheelchair occupant in this space, you can utilize one of the double foldaway seats. Simply just release the lock tab right there and use this red tab to allow the seat to fold down. From this position, we'll use this little tab on the back, simply press it down, and that will allow the backrest to come up. To bring the seat back down, simply just go through the process in reverse. Using the rear tab, folding the seat down, and now right underneath, you've got another little tab. Simply just press that tab to release, and the seat comes back up in place. Make sure to engage that lock tab again after it's back up. Another item with your bus that should be checked on a monthly schedule is testing the emergency exits. Your bus will have multiples, but to test them is very simple. You want to go through and release the tabs and push the window out. By doing this, you should hear the alarm up front, and the window should easily move in and out and relatch as needed. Simply pull the tabs out and listen for the alarm. If it alarms, then you know everything's working well with your safety system. Then, simply pull the window back in and lock your tabs right into place. This unit back here is your rear air conditioning unit. Now, one thing to take note of is that you'll want to cycle this air conditioner by turning it on at least once a month and letting it run for about 10 minutes. Yes, even in those cold winter months. And the reason behind this is that this is a completely self-sealed unit. So the only way for the oils and the lubricants to go through that system and to make sure everything stays nicely lubricated is to run that system. So on your monthly checks, please run your air conditioning system for about 5 to 10 minutes and let it go through a good cycle to make sure it stays well maintained and you don't find out in spring that that's when there's a problem. To operate the wheelchair lift, we have to go through and make sure that we meet all the criteria that's on this interlock module. The interlock is a series of different items that need to be met before it's going to send power to the lift. First, you'll notice that there's a little lit up letter P. This is requiring that the vehicle is in park before it will work. Next to it, you'll see PB for parking brake. Once we press the parking brake, it will illuminate and lock the vehicle in place so it knows that you can't shift out of park or move the vehicle while the lift is deployed. If you were to try to get the vehicle out of park right now, it's not going to operate because it knows that you have that parking brake set. Please keep this in mind. If you ever get in the vehicle and you can't shift it out of park, check the parking brake to ensure that it's not engaged. Finally, when you open the rear door, the door jar light's going to come on, and that's going to be the final step to get power to your wheelchair lift. And now you can get your occupants on and off. Once you've done everything correct with getting the lift to operate, such as getting the parking brake set, making sure the vehicle's in park, and your interlock has all the lights lit up, now it's time to actually operate your lift. Ensure that the on switch is in the correct position. When you first start to operate your lift, you always want to hit the fold button first, because as the lift is sitting up, it may slightly drift forward. We do have little drift latches on the side that are designed to hook on and catch the lift so that it doesn't come forward when opening the door. However, if you don't bring the lift back into the home position, it may not deploy if it's stuck on that latch. So simply hit the fold button to bring your lift back into the home position. Once it's there, you can press the unfold button and operate your lift. This is now at the platform state. From there, you're going to press the down button and the lift will gravity down from there. Always try to make sure that your lift is on a level ground if possible. And make sure that your barrier opens when it comes down. Now, when putting somebody onto the platform, you always want to ensure that they're centered and that you have the wheelchair facing outward. This allows the wheelchair to be seatbelt buckled in and give that individual maximum stability and safety when coming up onto the lift. Things to take note of when bringing somebody on and off the lift. The lift is equipped with these yellow safety barriers, one in the back and one right here in the front. Please make sure that the wheelchair rider isn't pushing or putting any pressure on those switches. If they are, that will stop the lift from operating. And I'll show you here. As we come up, if I hold this plate in place, the lift will stop operation no matter how many times we hit the button. It isn't until the barrier comes up that the lift is going to start operating again. Another thing to note about the lift is you always want to have just one passenger on at a time. When possible, it's not ideal to ever ride the lift with the person in the wheelchair. By staying down at the ground, you can monitor the condition of the lift and the occupant from a safe position and stop and assist if needed. Once the lift is back at platform level, this is your opportunity to go inside and to assist that individual and secure them properly. Once you've done that, then it's time to fold the lift back into its home position. Each one of these lifts comes with a manual backup in the case of an emergency. If for any reason your lift were to stop working and you have people on the bus that you need to be able to get off, the lift does have an operation to help with that. This isn't a means to be used until you get in for repairs. If you are using the manual backup, it's only to get people off. Please do not use it to bring more people onto the vehicle. In order to use this, there are instructions right down at the side right here. Following those instructions, we're going to use the little handle that hooks right to the front. You'll notice there's a small notch that's built right into the tip of this. It's going to work very similar to a car jack. This small knob right here is the release valve. Simply line it up with the handle and give it a very small turn, no more than 1/4 of a turn. This will allow the lift to start to drift out. Simply tighten it back up to hold the lift in place. If you spin this too many times, it will drop the check valve inside and the lift will no longer be able to be pressurized. So make sure that you only turn about 1/4 turn and no more. Once you tighten it, to bring the lift back up, simply insert the rod into the pump handle and it'll pump just like a car jack. You'll feel resistance once the lift gets back in place.